landed. Oh, we're recording, my man. Welcome everyone to the TNC podcast. Why would you do that?
I don't
Why would you do that? We have so few viewers, Christian. We can't afford to alienate any of them.
That's fine.
It's probably fine. If they got alienated by that, they probably weren't like real listeners anyway.
We probably don't like them that much anyway.
Yeah. I feel like we only have like hardcore fans that listen to us and a few like randos that don't come back. So
I feel like it's just my mom.
Your mom, Papa Tom, a few of our friends.
Maybe. It's a stretch.
Yeah. Speaking of Papa Tom, though, he sent me an email with some suggestions and ideas for the podcast. And let me pull it up and I'll go through it. All right, he said, long-time listener, first-time emailer. Good start, classic. Let's see. Let's go to the suggestions. He said, when you have a guest, I'd like to know more about how you met them and how you know them, and if like they can talk about stuff in their life. Like, we were talking about Jordan too, and he said he's curious. Since we kind of only have our friends on the podcast right now, he knows most of them, and he said it'd be cool to like know what they're doing in their lives a little more than we already have been asking them. And let's see. First question he has is, what is your favorite microbrewery in the Ham? He said
Ooh.
Birmingham. The Ham is mine.
The ham is what they call it. That's a good one. I don't know. Hang on, let me think on it. I really enjoy Monday night. I really enjoy Cahaba. I haven't found one that I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can narrow it down to just one. Honestly, that's so hard because they all have like such good beers.
Yeah. Do you have like a favorite type of beer?
I really like IPAs.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, I'm a weirdo. I like those. I'll drink them in the middle of like a hot day too. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I know.
Crazy, man.
But if it's not that, it's like a like a wit, like a Belgian wit kind of beer.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay.
Similar family to like Blue Moons, but I don't like Blue Moon that much. So
Okay.
it's a good question though. That makes you think. There's yeah, the place called I talked about called Cahaba Brewing. It's it's like a mile and a half from where I'm living right now, and it's quite convenient to get beer. They actually started distilling their own spirits too, which is interesting.
Oh, neat. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, I like that idea. I tried their whiskey. I just got it on neat in a glass just to
Yeah.
taste it, and I wasn't impressed, but that's okay. Uh, yeah, they got like vodka, rum, gin, all that stuff.
Nice. That's
Yeah,
so cool that they distill stuff too.
yeah.
That's
I think if you ever visit me in Birmingham, which hopefully you will, we should go there and get wiggity wasted.
wiggity witty wasted, huh? Oh, as long as it's early. I have to go to bed early. So I like to start drinking at like 5 or 6 p.m.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, same. I'm you know if it's a good weekend and I'm not doing anything, I'll start drinking at noon. You know,
Hey man, it's like they say, only way to be drunk all day, start in the morning.
I've heard that. Hmm.
All right. Let me see what else he's got. Ba, 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 ba. This is from Lori. What do you think about the national minimum wage? Too high, too low, or should we even have one? Should the free market decide what amount it should be? And what is the libertarian position on this? I think that last one was maybe directed at me because I talk about libertarian stuff a lot. Minimum wage. What do you think, man? You're just jumping right into stuff.
I think you earn what you earn.
Yeah.
If you have no skills or minimal skills, minimal pay.
Yeah.
I mean, why should some kid who's slinging burgers make more than Like, who else gets paid a lot less? Like, why should somebody slinging burgers make more than a soldier in the army? Like, one
Yeah.
at least has some sort of skill to it to an extent.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. If you earn it, then you should get it. No more, no less.
Yeah.
I
I think
guess.
that's fair. I think, yeah, one of the problems with like a national minimum wage is that cost of living is so much different depending on where you live. Like if you just look at rent prices, I remember in college, and like there's been some inflation, so I'm sure it's a little different. My friends that were moving into like small family homes or apartments, the rent was like $600 a month, $700 a month. To get something comparable to that, like where I am in Virginia and like in Maryland too, close to DC, I mean, it's like probably like 22 or $2,300 a month
Sure.
compared to like the 600 or 700 in the Mobile area.
Yeah.
So, and like food and stuff is food, and I don't know about utilities. I was about to say utilities. I don't know how much more they are, but food is definitely more than it was in Alabama out here. So, like they were arguing, like $15 minimum wage or like 16 or $17. Like that's a lot. That goes a lot longer of a way in Alabama, and it hurts, like small business owners because they can't afford to employ people if they have to pay them that much. Like remember when we worked at the what is it called, Encore,
Yeah.
the sporting goods store.
Hmm.
And I remember Tracy saying, he's like, because this was big in the news. I don't know if it was like our first year of college or like one of the summers during high school, but like talking about increasing the national minimum wage was talked about a lot like during that time. And I remember him telling us, he's like, look, if they increase the minimum wage, you guys are fired. I can't afford to employ you guys and pay you that much. And I think it's the case with a lot of small business owners. But you're right, like it should be more based around um like what you're providing. Like I think back to college, like I knew a bunch of students, not a bunch, just like a few students that worked in like the university library, and like they
Yeah.
didn't work most of the time. They kind of just needed someone at the front desk at all times to like help people check out books, like help people find stuff, and then like the work that they did was like reshelving books or like cataloging stuff, right? So pretty minimal. And it was good for them because it kind of forced them to be in a quiet area for a long amount of time. So they would all use it to like study and stuff.
Hmm.
So like that type of person should not earn $15 an hour.
No.
They should probably earn like, whatever. I don't know, whatever the library thinks, but it's not the same as someone who's like actively working and accomplishing stuff. I
Sure.
do agree with like a very small minimum wage just because like we're such a wealthy society, relatively speaking. I'm okay with there being a small minimum wage, but it shouldn't be like right now. I think like $15 is way too high for a minimum wage. I don't know what like the right price would be, but yeah, libertarian, like the hardcore libertarians say no minimum wage, like let the market decide. But in a perfect world with perfect people, I think that works. But since like there's a lot of people who will potentially exploit workers, I'm okay with like a very low minimum wage, like $6 or $7 or something.
Sure.
I don't really buy the argument that like you should be able to support a family on minimum wage.
No.
Because that's what like a lot of people like on the left side of things, they like to say like a single parent needs to be able to support their family on a minimum wage. And like, I don't really think that's true. I'm okay with like limited social programs to help those type of people, but I don't think we should help those people through a higher minimum wage because of the problem it causes for small businesses, like I said.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think that's a good argument. Like it's gotta be livable. I don't I don't think that really holds up,
No. Not really.
you know?
Oh, I know. That's a good question. Thanks
You
for
know, you feel me? Yeah, most libertarians would say no minimum wage. None. You handle that at like the community level. All right, I'm trying to pull up this email. I don't know where it went.
Well, you clearly minimized it or something.
I found it.
All right.
All right. The other thing he said is that he really enjoyed Jordan and his humor, and he nominates him to be the producer. I wanted to wait a little bit to read this one because I wanted to ask you if you think we should nominate him. And maybe the test will be like if he really listens to our podcast, he'll see this and then like say something to us about it. So do you think he should be our producer?
I do.
All right. I think we can officially extend the invite, but he has to see this and reach out to us to say that he accepts. So this is us, you know what I mean? So like this is us extending the invite. So if he doesn't actually watch our podcast, then he won't see this and he'll never reach back to accept. Do you think that's fair?
Sure.
All right.
Jordan, we will not pay you anything.
We can't we can't agree to pay you in any form.
At this time, we can't afford to pay you anything. However, if somehow one of us makes a lot of money, then yeah, sure.
Through this podcast.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
We'll be happy to renegotiate when this podcast becomes more popular.
Yeah,
Win. We gotta be positive. I'm happy with how it is now, man. I'm stoked that we get as many views as we do. I don't care because I have a good time and I like the stuff that we produce.
I like having an excuse to drink and talk to you.
To drink on camera and look at your pretty face. That's what I like.
You just said I looked homeless a minute ago.
You can look pretty and homeless. Dichotomies are possible. All right. It's 2023.
I'm not so sure, but all right.
That's well, fair. It's definitely 2023, so I hope you're sure of that.
All right, I'll take your word for it.
All right. That's all that Papa Tom said. He said, keep up the good work. Or keep up the great work. I really enjoy listening and watching. And he signed it as Papa Tom. I love that.
It's Papa T.
Papa Tom. I just look forward to the day where someone mistakenly calls me Papa Tom, and then I can say, no, Papa Tom is my father. And I'll like laugh a lot internally, and they'll be like, oh, okay.
Sorry, sir.
All right, whatever.
So what you been up to, dog?
Dude, I just been, pretending to work at work and kind of skating by. Got 6 months until I'm out. I shouldn't complain. It hasn't been too bad at work. Although recently, I was telling you earlier, a lot of people in my section are leaving to go to other jobs. They're taking command positions, which is great for them. I'm happy for them. But because they're leaving, like I have had to do more stuff, which I don't like. I want to do less stuff so I can focus on getting out of the Army. But
nice.
But it's been all right. Work's been it's been dumb, but like pretty normal amounts of dumb, so that's fine. Today I left work late because I had to do an XSUM. It's an executive summary. So we just it's kind of like we do it like meeting notes. Like sometimes you email meeting notes, especially for like people that weren't there, so they can see like what was talked about, like what decisions were made or whatever. So I got tapped to do this executive summary for this meeting. I didn't know I was going to have to do this before. Otherwise, I would have paid more attention during the meeting and taking notes. The meeting itself was to talk about a report, and the meeting itself was a summary of a report. So I was basically tasked with making a summary of the report of these other people who I'm like not like I don't do the report. I'm not the person that does the report. I just was like one of the people in the meeting. So it's like, these other guys do this report and we're having this meeting that's like a summary of what was said on the report. Like do a summary of that summary. That's what I was asked to do today.
That sounds pretty pointless.
That's like a very like typical like staff officer job in the Army. And it's just like, it's pretty dumb when you step back and think about it. Yeah. So I left like an hour late work today because I was like trying to do that thing and send out notes. And because I wasn't paying that much attention in the meeting, I had to like reach out to all these people after to make sure that I knew whatever, that I was saying the right stuff. But anyway, work's been fine. I just got to survive for 6 months and then I'm out of there. That'll be good. I'm growing some stuff in my basement that I'm going to transplant outside. I got probably like 3 or 4 more weeks until the last frost out here in Virginia. So I'm starting some stuff off from seed, like I was telling you. I got a mustard plant some spinach, corn, and then I just stuck some banana pepper seeds in some soil yesterday, the day before. So those haven't sprouted yet. And then I'm definitely gonna start some tomatoes as well over the weekend. So that's pretty exciting. I like doing stuff in my plants. I've still got 5 hemp plants that are alive. I don't know how many seeds I started with, but this was like the third round of me trying to sprout hemp. If like you remember me talking about that before. One of them, maybe 2 of them look like they're gonna die, and they're like 18 inches tall. They're like almost like little baby trees, which is cool. My lemon sapling has got like 6 leaves now, which is very exciting because it had 2 leaves for like its first 2 months of life, but now it's like starting to grow more leaves and get taller. So that's really cool.
Nice.
And yeah, I got my garlic. That's still going strong. My chickpeas are not looking good. Like half of the plant looks dead, but then the top half is alive. I was definitely overwatering them. I don't know if they're gonna make it, but they're still alive for now, so we'll see.
Mhm.
And yeah, man, that's good. I like my plants.
Big plant guy.
Big plant guy. Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah.
man.
What about you, man? What have you been up to?
Uh, just usual homeless veteran stuff.
Yeah, you
Uh,
look pretty homeless.
yeah, you said that. Um, no, I have been doing a lot of stuff in regards to school coming up,
Yeah.
starting in May 24th. So that's exciting. Um, um, I've been I've been working out a ton.
Yeah. You
I
getting
guess,
swole?
eh, not really, but I feel like just having all this time has been good for me just to go work out all the time and often.
You need some time to unwind for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. You should make sure you take at least 30 days at the minimum to, you know, just bop around and be Toby for a bit.
Well, I'm planning on taking time off, but like ideally I will. So I'm planning on taking about 45 days off, right? So I get out of the army at the end of September. So it's
Mhm.
like August like 13th or something is when I want to start that terminal leave. And I would like to have bought the house before terminal leave or like at the beginning of terminal leave. So I can like, move and like settle into the new house, but also start building like my farm and infrastructure stuff.
Okay.
Uh, but like I do like want to do things at like a relaxed pace for a bit before. But yeah, I mean I feel like the first few months will be fine. It will be relaxed because I'm not planning on like growing a fall crop when I get down there, or like I've played around with that idea, but it takes a few weeks to get like a food permit to sell at like a farmer's market or something.
Mhm.
So probably not going to do a fall crop. If I do, I'll do a very small one. But I am planning on starting to grow microgreens right away.
Okay.
So getting like my microgreen systems up and running, building the racks and getting some more reps at growing a bunch of microgreens at once and finding people to sell to. So anyway, I'm kind of planning on having like a slow startup in the winter with like focusing just on microgreens and then maybe start like building beds and like adding soil amendments kind of spaced out throughout the winter. So that way, once I get to the spring, I'll have like some beds that I know are ready. Because I feel like the soil down in Pensacola is not gonna be good.
Probably not with all like the hurricanes and stuff washing away stuff and
Yeah. No, that's yeah, that's what I read. There's just like I forget the soil type, but it's like a very, very shallow topsoil.
Mhm.
Probably because, like you said, like there's a lot of rain that part of the country and hurricanes and stuff will wash it away. So anyway, yeah, I think I'll have a slow start and then kind of just slowly try to ramp things up.
That's good.
Slow and steady, like
Good.
my conservative self likes.
That is the way. But yeah, I've just been getting ready for school and reading about stuff online and all sorts of fun stuff. just doing Christian stuff. It's been
Cool,
good.
man. Are you set on your degree path?
I am.
Say more about that.
So at this time, I'm going to pursue a paramedicine degree. It's just a 2-year degree, um, and I want to use that to obviously do paramedic stuff, um, but not just like the typical paramedic stuff where you're just kind of sitting in an ambulance or um, at a football game. That stuff's lame. Um, I want to get into, like, I think I mentioned, like flight paramedicine
Yeah.
and like critical care, uh, patient transportation. Like flight stuff is, well, TAC med is really cool. That's where you are. You basically work on a SWAT team as their medic. I think that'd be kind of cool. I don't like cops, but I do like I do like the idea of helping people not die. I think that's good generally. Um, and yeah, there's a whole slew of other things I think I want to try with them. You can do like contract work, like if there's a big hurricane coming.
Yeah.
Um, Companies will like contract out like emergency medical personnel to that area. Um, and it's a contract work. It's not super steady, but it's really lucrative. And I think that'd be really cool. Um, and as soon as I'm like, as soon as my knees are broken and I'm sick and tired of working crazy hours and I want to have a cush job, a lot of the courses in the paramedic course are sort of parallel to a basic nursing degree. So I'll just finish out a nursing degree, ideally later on down the road when I'm feeling it. I don't want to do that
Like
now.
an
Just an RN, not a BSN.
okay, thank you. Those are the letters I was looking for.
Yes. I don't particularly want to do that right now because I want to, I'm still young. I want to use my body and I want to get out and do the exciting stuff. And, just your basic nursing stuff it can be exciting, but I just want to, I want to get out there, and just do stuff.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's
Like,
good, dude.
asked me,
I think you need some high stakes stuff in your life for a little bit more.
I think so too. I never really got to scratch that itch too well, a couple times, but um, I really want to, I don't know, better to, burn out than to fade away, I guess. You know what I mean?
I think we all need like intense and like difficult things in our lives because
Sure.
otherwise, you
What's the
know,
point?
you don't feel alive if you don't do like my dad, he says, oh, I forget what it was. So he was up here around Christmas, him and Lori,
Hmm.
and we had planned to go like walk around the National Mall and see the monuments and stuff. But like the temperature, a cold front was coming in, so there was like 30-mile-an-hour winds, and it was like 25 degrees. So with the wind chill, like I think it was single digits. And we did walk a few miles. We were very bundled up. And afterwards, I was like, I'm sorry, I probably should have planned better. Like that was kind of miserable. And my dad's like, no, like you need some like intense suffering like that every now and then in your life. Makes you helps you feel alive. And I think
Oh,
that's like a good life philosophy. So you need some like intense high stakes stuff. Not that wasn't high stakes really, but you know what I mean. You need like these stressful, intense.
you got to be uncomfortable,
Moments.
you know?
Yeah, yeah, makes you
Uh,
appreciate everything else.
sure. But yeah, that's the general plan as of right now. Um, just excited to get started. I
Yeah,
think I think it's the right choice. I think it'll be good. So I'm
cool.
really interested in that kind of stuff, but I'm not very interested in like doing bedside nursing. That just doesn't sound very fun to me.
Yeah,
So this kind of gives me a little bit of the both, medical stuff, but also kind of high stakes stuff, which is cool. Um, and then yeah, I'm just gonna roll with that. That'll take about 2 years or so, maybe a little less if I work through the summer, which I plan on. And then yeah, funny thing, the school I'm going through has 100% employment rate after if you graduate.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so they like put you out there and get you working with good companies in the area. So that's exciting.
Nice. Well, good deal, man. I'm happy for you. When do you start classes?
May 24th into May timeframe. Yeah. So that's good. I'm ready.
Right
It's
on.
been good having this. What is it? I guess 2 months now. Holy shit! Look at that. 2 months to the day that I've been out of the army.
Wow.
Yeah.
Big moves.
Yeah. It's been good having this time off, just to kind of do do Christian stuff. You know, it's good.
Yeah, like work out and
Work out, read online, and
play with your guns.
play with toys, and just eat good food and be a good person.
No doubt, man. No doubt.
So I was you ever have you ever like been doing something and then for some reason, whatever reason, in your head you hear a voice of like an old friend or a parent or whatever, um, telling you, what am I trying to get at? Saying something along the lines of like encouragement, I guess. You ever had that?
I think you're describing neurosis, and they have doctors to see about that type of thing.
I don't know if I'm describing. That's not what I mean.
I'm just messing with you, man. I don't have I don't hear like people
I'm
talk.
not saying like actually like hearing voices. No,
I
that's
know,
like
I understand. I
okay.
don't think you're crazy. I mean, a little bit, obviously, but not like
Yeah,
in a way that's inhibits your ability to live life. But no, I'm more so like I imagine my conversations with people and like what I would say to them about the event.
okay. That's
That
it.
makes sense.
So the reason I bring that up is I've noticed that you remember my friend Kyle. You met him in Korea. The
Yeah.
the angry tattooed man.
Yeah, it was funny though.
Yeah, great guy. Love him to death. Uh, he and I would work out together pretty much every single day, and like extensively, like for an hour and a half, 2 hours, or something like that. And I started noticing it. Like every time I'm in the gym, I think of him just telling me it's not that hard. Quit being a pussy. Just like that exact like phrase. And I thought about that earlier today, and I called him and we talked about that, and that was funny. I don't know. I
That's
just noticed that today, and that happened.
that's sweet, man. Thanks for sharing that with me.
It was weird, dude. It is. I've started to really miss the boys, um, from the army recently.
Yeah.
You might get a taste of that when you get out after a little while. It's I didn't think it would hit me just because we got these cell phones that we can just call everybody with, but man, I'm missing my homies, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of intentionally have tried not to make any friends out here because it's tough, man. You know me, like I'm averaging 12 months at an assignment, so it's really tough to like have a relationship,
Mhm.
friendship or romantic, and then like have to leave. So like it's tough going through that every 12 months. So here I've kind of like intentionally not tried to befriend people and whatnot. I've kind of made some loose friendships out here, but I do every now and then miss people from other assignments, and I think about them. Not many though. Mostly, it's like I wish I was working with those people instead of the people I'm working with right now. Not like I miss them in general,
Mhm.
but no, I mean like I have some good memories for sure of being in the army and like hanging out with some people I worked with.
Yeah, I've been noticing that like a lot recently. You know, and it's natural. It's gonna happen, but
You're also a lot more social than I am.
well, I think it's I was in Hawaii for 3.5 years with
Yeah.
with the same people.
Yeah.
3.5 years, and through those 3.5 years, went through a lot of good things, a lot of bad things. You know, you just
Yeah,
you
you
go through.
bond with people over that much
Yeah,
time, especially with like the mutual suffering.
sure. And yeah, those are the boys I really miss. But but yeah, I wouldn't say I'm more social than you are. I'd say
Pretty
that.
antisocial, so
Don't tell Avery, but I sort of am too. Yeah. But anyway,
Hmm. um I don't know if you saw this. I don't know if you don't want to talk about this, it's okay. The Army recently rebranded itself and it came out with a new slogan, or not new, but be all you can be, which is like what the slogan it adopted like shortly after the Vietnam War. And I
yeah,
think they had that for, I don't know, like 20, 30 years.
yeah, up until not too long ago.
Yeah. So that's like they're going back to that. And they had like a rebranding launch with like a whole public like ceremony, and the Army big wigs like the Secretary of the Army Christine Wormuth, and then the Army Chief of Staff General McConville, and then the Command Sergeant Major of the Army. I forget his name. I'm blanking out, but they all talked and like talked about what they thought, and it's like who cares what you think? It's not that insightful, but yeah, dude, it's like this whole be all you can be thing. It's funny because the Army recently has been it's like tried to appear progressive, with like the
Yeah,
sharp NEO classes, like the skyrocketing as far as like how much training you have to do for that. And like so much emphasis of like we want to become like more diverse and inclusive. So I just think it's ironic that they're like reverting back to this old phrase. Like it feels like it was a bunch of like old generals in a room, like a bunch of old like white haired dudes would be like, ah man, miss the good old days. Like we need to bring back the good old days. Like, yeah, remember be all you can be. Oh yeah, like that was the slogan when I enlisted, and now I'm been in for 35 years. And it feels like that's how it happened. And it's ironic because of the things I already said. I'm kind of talking in circles, but anyway, what do you think about that? Be all you can be. I will say, in like the memorandum that like they issued, like every now and then they'll email like all service members like the trifold letter where those three people I said earlier they all sign it. Um, it was just like super not true. Like in the Army, you can be all you can be. You can be anything that you want to be in the Army. Like you have unlimited options and unlimited potential if you join the Army. And my initial impression was like, that's just not factually, that's not true. You cannot be anything you wanted to be. I did not want to be a chemical officer, but here I am. I am a chemical officer. And like, I literally, all I've wanted to do for my career is to do Seaburn stuff. And like, I haven't been able to do that hardly at all. So that's just like asking to do my job that like they gave to me. And I like can't even do that. I do other BS that's not related. So
I feel your pain to an extent.
yeah. Um yeah, and I forget, I think it was General McConville, or no, it was in one of the advertisements that they have because they have like a series of ads now. Some of them are actually pretty good, not gonna lie. They got me a little pumped up. They have the guy that plays um
Toby Keith.
yeah, forgetting his name. He's the Marvel character that was in the Loki series, the like multi-dimensional guy. He like killed his other selves from multiple dimensions to be able to control the time stream. And he's in the new Ant-Man movie. Anyway, they had that actor in it, and it was actually really well done. But in one of the ads, they said that the Army has the best technology in the world, and I laughed out loud when I saw that because a lot of stuff we have like 70s technology because the Army doesn't want to pay to like refurbish new stuff, and like a bunch of it just is just garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Remember,
like DARPA has like some of the best technology in the world, but like the good stuff is not distributed to the force. Like SOF has some really good stuff, but like general people in the Army, like some of the stuff is very outdated.
Windows 98 in 2023. You gotta love it.
Dude, what a blessing. What a blessing. There's still fallout because like Internet Explorer is no longer a website. but there are still Army legacy websites that were like built to work on Internet Explorer, and they have all these problems because they just don't work as well on Chrome and stuff. It's
Right.
like there's still fallout on that.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable.
Tragic. So yeah,
Anyway, what do you think, man?
I have no opinion on the matter.
Be all you can. Do you think you can be all you can be in the Army? Do you think that's true?
I think you can be a lot of things. Um, I mean, but again, every person's different, I guess. I got to do almost everything I set out to do, just through hard work and dedication. But, you know, there are other circumstances that can limit what you can and can't do. So it happens. Just be a man. Don't be a
But
pussy. Do it.
what about women?
Grow a proverbial set of nuts and just deal with it, you know?
What about women though? They can't. They don't have testicles.
All right. You know what
I don't know if I do, but all right. Yeah, no, I definitely did a lot of things I wanted to do in the Army, like travel is a big one. I've gotten to travel a lot because of the Army, so that's been cool. Although one of the biggest reasons I'm leaving the Army is because like I feel like the Army is making me really like has made me into a person that I don't want to be, because it kind of forces you to become dishonest and absorb like, hypocritical qualities and
I can see that.
a lot of bad stuff. So I'm definitely like I've noticed that I'm like becoming, in some ways I am a person that I don't want to be. And that's like for sure one of the bigger reasons why I'm leaving the Army, because like I don't want to be that person. So I can't live this life anymore.
Hey, it's good that you're self aware and you're taking steps to change that. That's good.
It's all you can do, man. Try to be self-aware and take steps to change things.
So you had a story about this guy, right?
Yeah, I did want to I did want to circle back to the
Circle back. You're gonna circle back. You're gonna walk the dog. You're gonna
let's just walk the dog here. Oh my god, this is exactly what I'm talking about. What
just
were we?
circle the wagons real
What
quick.
was it? We were talking. Oh yeah, my complaint with flasks is that they're all too small. I feel like it's if you put liquor in there, it's enough to get you like a little buzz, but it's not enough to keep you there. It's not enough to like share with other people. But I feel like in media and like movies and TV shows, there's people like sharing a flask and like, sometimes like multiple people, like two, three, four, and they're all happy with the amounts of alcohol they're getting. But I just don't think that's accurate. There's just not enough. So I was listening to this podcast. I want to say it was Eric Weinstein, or maybe someone was interviewing Eric Weinstein. Oh, maybe it was Neil deGrasse Tyson. I don't know. Anyway, it was someone that did stuff with theoretical physics, and they were talking about um, a technological advancement that'd be really cool is being able to access a fourth dimension of space, right? So right now we have the three dimensions, but a fourth dimension, it'd be like you open up this door and you put stuff in there and you close the door, and like the stuff isn't like in the three dimensions that we live in. So it's just like space on top of space, being able to access that. Anyway, so like having a 4D flask with extra space for more liquor, that's what I look forward to the most about being able to access that fourth dimension of space, having flasks with more things in them.
That could be good and bad.
Yeah.
Just unlimited booze at your fingertips, which I guess you pretty much do anyway with like DoorDash nowadays. Because you can like DoorDash like a bottle of liquor or something. There's some service that does that, but
Yeah.
I,
There are scenarios though where you need a good flask. I remember I went to a dry wedding once, which was just like weird. Like for at the wedding reception, there was just like a dude playing piano, and it wasn't really bangers, so like it wasn't good dancing music. And it was just like kind of awkward. So like, and you couldn't like drink to like take the edge off things, and like I said, the music wasn't good for dancing. So I was like, what are we doing here? Like they had two different mocktails. And those were okay. But anyway, I snuck in a flask, obviously, because of who I am as a person.
Sure.
And that was good for like a little bit, but like one of my friends saw me, so like I had to share. And it definitely wasn't good enough for two people. So
Mhm.
anyway, that was a long story, but
So this one, I wrapped up in this like fabric tape stuff.
yeah,
It's like it's not sticky, but it uses friction to hold it all together. It's
yeah.
like an ace wrap, but it's like tan and like not easy. It's not very shiny. I would bring this to the field with me sometimes.
Don't you really?
Oh yeah, on those cold nights, man, you swig back a couple of these, and it'll temporarily warm you up, and then it'll do the exact opposite, make you colder. But then at that point you're asleep, so it doesn't
Hey
matter.
man, I'm all about short-term gains at the cost of long-term negative effects. No problem.
Sure. But yeah, I just kind of keep it with this on it now. And why did I have this? Um, oh, I was going home. I filled this thing up. I was going home for I think a couple of days. Yeah, a couple of days. And there's no booze in the house, and I didn't want to bring a whole bottle,
Mm,
so I brought this. Um, Came in handy.
yeah,
Yeah,
cool, man.
and I
Are you drinking tonight other than that flask?
yeah.
What you got?
I have some sort. Hang on, wild turkey. I finished off a bottle of wild turkey in here, and Avery wanted to try these Dr. Pepper strawberries and cream. It tastes like synthetic as fuck, but it's actually pretty good with a whiskey. So I'm
Okay.
having that right now. It's pretty good. You have
Nice.
red wine.
Yeah, I'm drinking some wine.
Uh,
Arabella.
a what?
Arabella. It's like the name of the company or the brand, whatever you want to call it. It's a cab sav out of South Africa. It's got
Nice.
a horse on it.
I like horses.
It's okay. It's not great.
They taste decently, I guess.
I wasn't talking about horses. I was talking about the wine. Have you
Oh,
had a horse burger?
yeah.
Was it good?
I didn't know it was horse.
What'd you think it was? Beef?
Yeah.
I'm open to having horse.
Yeah. It's a really pretty meat. I remember speaking of Tracy earlier. You remember his wife Julie was a big animal vet.
Yeah.
You remember that? She
Yeah.
would do minor surgeries on horses and stuff, and would let Tracy like watch, just come in and watch the surgery or whatever. Evidently, horse have very, very like appealing looking muscle, like it would be good to eat. So I
Okay.
would like to. I wouldn't hate trying a horse. I know they're very expensive, and I don't know if it'd be very profitable, but I would, I would, I would do it again. You know, wouldn't mind a steak,
Okay.
like buying my own horse and butchering it.
Okay. I see. I was confused by what you're saying there.
Dude,
Okay.
I'm confused about what I'm saying half the time, so I'm like Joe
Yeah.
Biden.
Good old Sleepy Joe. What a treat, man.
Oh,
That's the best. That's the best our country had to offer. Well, maybe not like the best, but like at least second best. Because like we got the two-party system, so like he's at least the second best that our country had to offer as a president. Isn't that sad?
that's honestly like alarming,
It's
and
very alarming,
if
man.
that doesn't make people concerned about the state of our union, then you are just you may not be all there cognitively.
Did you listen to the State of the Union this year?
I did it while I was in the gym, and it motivated the crap out of me because
Yeah.
it just made me upset. He really enjoys saying we got to finish the job. It sounded
He that's
he kind of
exactly what he
yeah.
said. That was his big
It
thing.
was kind of threatening
We
sometimes.
gotta finish the job.
What are you talking about, you senile old man? I almost feel bad for him because he's not the one calling the shots there. It's just like someone appointed him
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
the face of the party, and it's just like they're just taking advantage of that poor man. And it's clear he's not caught like all there. mentally.
I agree. Yeah, I definitely don't think he's the shot caller because so much of the time he seems out of it. I'll be honest though, he seemed pretty on it for the State of the Union. I was surprised. And I remember like a bunch of Republicans were like heckling him at different parts, or he would like say something and they would boo him. And there's like this back and forth, and he's like, no, that's exactly what happened. Like, call my office and we'll give you a copy of this thing that was sent. Anyway, it was hilarious because it was like the heckling from the Republicans like fired him up, and like he was like more responsive and with it
Yeah.
after that stuff happened and was like more aware. So it was really funny to see
Yeah.
like see that interaction because normally he is so out of it. And like anyway, he still like was not like you said. I mean, like any politician, they say like very generic stuff that like doesn't actually mean anything. Like we got to finish the job. And anyway, it was funny though to watch him like it was like he enjoyed it. It was like he enjoyed the heckling and the back and forth, which was funny. So anyway, yeah, a lot of empty statements and grandstanding and virtue signaling, and you know, it's a good time. It's a good time. I also like how every single year, one of the sides, either Republican or Democrat, like one of their news stations, they show like a clip and they write an article of like the military generals don't support President whoever, and they show them and they're like deadpan, and it's like literally every year this happens, and it's like yeah, like they're in the military, they're supposed to be apolitical like by their nature, so like yes, they don't clap for stuff, they don't like stand up and yell things. They just like try to remain neutral every year. And like I remember seeing a few articles this year, like the military clearly doesn't side with Joe Biden on this topic. Like look at their facial expressions during when he said this thing, and it's like just like a neutral expression. And they all kind of have resting bitch face because they're old, crusty dudes. So
Who didn't have the balls to leave the military.
yeah, they didn't have the gumption to try to make it on the outside. They just stuck around.
Yeah.
So for majors in the chemical corps this past promotion cycle, the promotion rate was like 90%.
Oh wow.
Normally, like across the army, it's like 60 to 70%. So I think that's because like everyone hated it so much that like all these captains are leaving before promotion. So basically, like if you stick around, like you're probably good. You just got to stick around and get promoted.
So it sounds like majors become the new captain. If you just kind of stick around and have a pulse, you'll get it.
I think like that's what like the army as a whole is trending towards.
Yeah.
Because for captain, it is like a 99%, maybe it's like 98 or 97% promotion rate. Like you got to do something real bad and have like a flag on your record to not get promoted. But that's like what it's trending towards for major, because like retention is not good.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like we talked about another podcast, the army was short like 10,000 people for its recruiting goal for 2023. I don't know what the breakdown is of like between enlisted and officer and warrant officer, but anyway. It's crazy, man. But now they got this new slogan, be all you can be.
Be all you can be, man.
I'm not gonna lie though, that commercial pumped me up. It was pretty good.
Yeah, you gonna recommission or what?
Fuck no. Yeah. It like reminded me of like a few of like the good memories that I have of the army and like almost doing cool stuff. You know, I wouldn't talk every single person out of joining the military, but like the vast majority of them, I would. There's a lot of good reasons to join. I would just, if I was talking to anyone, especially like if I have children and they want to join, have a long conversation with them about the pros and cons, because there are a lot of cons that people don't know about. For starters, recruiters will just straight up lie to you. Straight up lie to you. I've met so many recruiters that just like love laughing about how they straight up lied to people to get them to join because they wanted to meet the recruiting numbers. And it's unbelievable. Just like blatantly lie. Not like exaggerate stuff, not like bend the truth a little, but just like straight up lie. It's awful, man. And people wonder why people don't want to join the military when you got service members getting out They're like, it's not, it's not what they say it is. They're lying to you.
Yeah.
Anyway, we don't need to talk about the Army no more. Let's talk about poops. How your poops been lately, my friend?
I actually just took one a few minutes ago. Well, more than that now. About an hour ago, I guess. They've been really good.
Nice.
Yeah, it's today was weird though because normally it's right after I finish my first cup of coffee and I'm like halfway through the second
Uh-huh.
is when it happens. It didn't happen like that today though. So I just realized, oh, that's weird. I haven't pooped. And then it hit me and I went and pooped. So it was great. Fantastic.
You been eating your greens?
Yeah, dude, eating greens, eating meat, um, the way God intended.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I was eating for a short time, I was eating a lot less meat, and that negatively affected my poops for sure. So I've started resuming the high amounts of meat that I was eating before, and my poops have been good. I've been pooping a lot, but it feels good. Like you can tell, like you can tell when you're pooping at a frequency that feels good,
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Feels
hear
good.
you.
I've been pooping like 2 or 3 times a day.
That's almost inconvenient.
Uh,
Maybe not for
I
you because
think
you have
I
coffee.
think 3 times is potentially inconvenient, but when it's two, it's usually in the morning, like 8 or 9, and then in the afternoon. Like today, I pooped at probably like 10 o'clock, and then shortly after I got home, so like 5:30 or so. That's not inconvenient. Three
That's fair.
times can be potentially, but I'm a quick pooper, so
Oh yeah,
not too much time lost.
you're a dumping and jumping kind of guy, huh?
I'm a I'm a squat and drop type of guy.
That's fair.
The key is you got to get that good pelvic floor alignment, like Audrey taught us.
All right, that's fair.
Got to get them knees up or lean forward if you got to. You remember that?
Yeah, I do. I don't have to do any of that though. It just comes out fine.
All right. Maybe if you did that, it'd come out better.
You could be right, or you could be wrong. It could come out way worse.
Just disastrous. Oh my God. This is way worse.
Ah, fuck you, Toby.
Hey man, I'm just following Audrey's advice. The amplified OT. You got to circle back to her if she was the problem.
Can you not say circle back, please?
Can't help it, dude. I use that a lot. It's a very useful.
You've been indoctrinated entirely.
Yeah, obviously. Army schooling is built on indoctrination. That's what it's all about. You got to indoctrinate people so they act the way that the army thinks is going to be best for them.
But you need to stop it.
I'm trying, dude. I think I'm going to keep circle back though. That's really convenient. I don't like the sports analogies. I saw a meme about that recently. Like people talking about how like NTC or JRTC is like the Super Bowl. I remember my battalion commander really liked to say stuff like that. Like, this is the Super Bowl. We've been preparing for it all season. We got to go out there and win. You just got to think about getting the ball in the end zone. It's like, kind of with the sports analogies, man. Like, use like real words to describe what we need to do.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's a weak thing when you lean on analogies too much. Like if you're leaning on analogies, then like you don't have the substance to say what needs to be done. Like if you know what needs to be done, then say it. You don't need to use an analogy, or at least
It
not like use them
almost
all the time.
it almost dilutes the, I guess, not severity, but
The
kind of dilutes
significance.
the significance of what's being said too. Which
Yeah.
is kind of like I read this the other day and I wholeheartedly agree with it. Using memes about like current events and stuff.
Yeah.
But we all get it. It's funny. I love a meme. But it gets to the point where it makes it so palatable that it's like people just accept it because it's funny, Like something along, I think I saw one about that terrible derailment in Ohio where all the chemicals were released, and terrible
Yeah.
ecological disaster. I'm sure people in the future, a couple years from now, are going to start dying from cancers and terrible things like that. But
Probably more like 30, 40 years.
who knows? Um, but yeah, terrible situation, and there are memes about it, which make it funny and more palatable and stuff. But I feel like those memes are just taking away the severity of it, significance of it, and I feel like that's honestly getting to be make like negative impacts on the audience or whoever's
Yeah.
receiving. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's just like one example. Like you can make a meme about what's something terrible that's happened.
Yeah.
A meme about the Afghanistan pullout, or the meme about all those kids that the ATF killed in Waco, Texas, or whatever. Like that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
it just makes it way more palatable and less of a tragedy, honestly. So I've been trying to get away from memes, but it's kind of tough, because they're funny.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of a dichotomy because I do like some dank memes.
Sure.
I think it's, making it humorous is in part a coping mechanism, which can be important. But I agree. I think it's important to like remember the severity of stuff like that so that we fix the problem, or don't make the same mistakes.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know how you do that because, like, with the way things are today with technology and social media, I feel like we're just inundated by so much stuff that happens. Like, we hear about like mass shooting here, mass shooting there, like train derails, like thousands of people have to leave their homes for a while and like probably poison the environment. And then like you're on to the next thing and then the next thing. And um, so I don't know, how do you do that? How do you like properly remember this stuff or like take it in the way that you need to?
I don't know. Maybe make I don't know. Is I don't know. Is history class a graduation requirement?
I mean, like, you got to take history in high school. I don't know if you have to in college. You have to take a certain amount of humanities, but you probably don't have to take history. You do in high school.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know then, because then you're kind of treading on an area of like censorship, and in a way, because you can't keep a guy from making a meme legally. But how do you make that to where it's remembered properly? I don't know. It's a tough one. More monuments.
Think so?
uh, I actually saw something the other day that kind of made my blood boil. You know how I mentioned the Waco thing, the Waco, Texas incident, like back in like the was it 70s or 80s or 90s,
Yeah.
something. Terrible tragedy, um, handled very poorly. Blah 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 blah. Tons of people died that shouldn't have. Fuck the ATF. But anyway, I saw something the other day. It was on the ATF's Facebook page about the anniversary of that. They basically had a big ceremony in remembrance for the 4 officers that died during it, which
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I think, a life is a life unless you're a pedophile. A life is a life, and it's terrible to lose it. But how dare they have the audacity to remember that and not the 76 or
Yeah.
70 people that they, you know, killed by negligence?
Yeah.
That made my blood boil. That made me actually kind of upset.
Sure.
But yeah, fun fact that happened the other day. Mhm.
The memorial ceremony thing was just the other day.
Yeah, it was on the anniversary of it. It wasn't long ago, maybe within 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
So tragic.
Yeah, that's crazy. I in my literature capstone class in college, one of the books we had to read was it's a translation of like a French novella. But it was like the whole thing was about remembrance and it was almost kind of trippy because this guy was trying to remember something about a family member who I think was in the military for the French, like in the French Foreign Legion, and he's trying to find like more info about his great grandfather, and he like finds like historical documents and like a monument. And anyway, the whole thing is kind of about like how do we remember
Yeah.
things and how like our remembrance is often imperfect and like not always correct, than like what actually happened. And anyway, I don't remember exactly what all happened in the novel, but I feel like the takeaway was that memory is weird, and like the whole way we memorialize things is weird, and also we often remember things incorrectly. And anyway, I don't really know if that relates to what we're talking about in a meaningful way, but yeah, memory's weird, man. Memory's weird. I think it is important to talk about that stuff though, to remember, but what do you do with it? I don't know.
Well, I mean, can use it to make, decisions and actionable,
That's true. Yeah, hopefully so you talk about it with the intent of like everyone remembering it, and then like later on the road when there's a decision to be made that relates to that, you remember so that you don't make the same mistakes or you make things better, or I don't know.
I don't know. Other than that, I can't think of how else you would do that. Just interesting topic. We just got kind of weirdly deep there. You know.
It's not our normal superficial stuff. What are we doing? We gotta get back to the bread. We went like right from talking about pooping to like talking about how you remember serious events, and I don't know how we made that.
That was weird. We're talented in weird ways.
Yeah. Um, yeah, dude, it's weird. One thing I've been thinking about a lot lately, though, and we've talked about it, we probably talked about it on the podcast, is how people um they what's the word for like the opposite of demonize? Deify? Yeah, so people deify almost, not quite, but for lack of a better word, people like deify service members in the military in the US. And I think it's like incredibly harmful because the US military is a cross section of America who's like slightly more physically fit. Like that's it.
Yeah.
So like, do you want to like call every service member a hero? Like, what about the rapists? What about the people in leadership positions who use their power and influence to like force their subordinates to like give them a blowjob? Because like that happens. Like I know multiple people that have told me about people who did that in the military.
Mhm.
Like it's probably less common now than it was like 10, 20 years ago, but like that happens. So
Yeah.
like, are those people heroes? Like, no, obviously not. Like I think I talked about one time I went to the dentist and the on post facility was so backed up, they like sent me through a referral to go off post, and they're having trouble figuring out how to like access the TRICARE system to like get the payment for everything for the dental appointment. And I said something like, hey, like I'm sorry, I feel like I'm causing you guys uh such an inconvenience with this, whatever. And they're like, oh no, like with this stuff that you do for us every day, like no, it's no problem at all. It's like, lady, like I work a desk job every day. Like I come in, I work on my PowerPoint, I update my Excel tracker, make events on the calendar. Like that's not like a real sacrifice. Like I mean, I definitely feel like I've sacrificed some stuff with being away from family and being in areas that could like potentially be hazardous was a little bit of sacrifice. Like when I lived in South Korea, if North Korea had invaded, I would have been like one of the first people to die for sure. So like that potential threat is like a little bit of a sacrifice, but like in no means am I a hero in my current job, right? So it's very problematic when people memorialize things and like too far is like the point I guess I'm trying to make. Like you go too far to say like these people have done so much for us
I can see that.
when it's like I've done a little bit for the American people, but like not not a lot.
Yeah, that's tough because you got to be like respectful and courteous. Say yeah, my pleasure, whatever. Thanks for
Yeah,
this.
yeah, you want to be polite. Like for a long time, I think I was like, oh, like I don't know, I was weird about it, but it's just easier to be like, oh, like thank you, like thanks for that. Like that's real kind
Yeah,
of you. It
but
just
then again,
like that.
it's hard to do that and not think about my old CG who got caught using his GTC for personal stuff. He ended up
Yeah.
spending he ended up spending $750,000
Yeah.
just on personal trips, dinners, that kind of stuff. So it's like, how do you categorize that guy, that scumbag, into people who have you know actually done like noble things? It's kind of hard to do. I get it,
Yeah.
but whatever, dude. We need to quit coming back to the army stuff.
Those are some important topics.
That's fair, but still.
Um, all right. Sharp contrast or sharp transition.
Okay.
I saw in the news recently, some international organization passed some whatever thing, not a law, but they like published something about um deep sea mining and like stuff on the restriction of like how we harvest maritime resources. I'm really not doing a good job at this, but like one of the things is they wanted to have like 30% of the ocean set aside, kind of like a national park, like you can't do any economic activity in a national park. You can't harvest timber, like you can't mine, you can't grow crops. So they wanted to have like zones like that, like sanctuary type zones in like 30% of the ocean by like whatever time, like 30% is dedicated as like these sanctuary zones. And
Okay.
anyway, it got me thinking like one of the big things with that is there are people trying to do deep sea mining to harvest different resources. So, like in particular, around hydrothermal vents, there's a bunch of sulfites and other minerals that you can harvest. And then in the area around, whatever, we don't need to get in those details. Deep sea mining is like an up and coming thing for harvesting, in particular, some like rare earth metals.
Okay.
Like your cell phone has like random rare earth metals and like the whole thing with like car chips. I think that was the recently there have been less of those produced, partially because of a lack of like certain rare earth metals, and like we're doing more like electric vehicles, so we need these lithium ion batteries, and like lithium is a more rare metal. Anyway, that was a lot of an intro, probably too much, but it got me thinking, what happened to asteroid mining? You remember when that was a big thing? Everyone was talking about asteroid mining and like we're going to go into space and like mine this stuff and bring all these things back. So I looked into that, and the reason that went away is because all these businesses failed because it turns out it's really expensive.
Really, I couldn't have guessed.
Dude, can you believe it? Launching mining equipment into space is really expensive. It's pretty wild.
Crazy concept there.
Crazy. But there's a few that are still trying to do it. There's this one company called Astroforge. I think right now
It's a
all
cool
they're
name.
doing is they've got like a bunch of telescopes and stuff, and they're basically surveying asteroids to see what type of minerals that they think it has and see if it's suitable for mining.
Hmm.
But sometime in the future, they're gonna send like a small probe, and they're gonna harvest like a kilogram of stuff from the asteroid and bring it back. And it's not supposed to be profitable. It's more like a proof of concept. Like, does this mining equipment work? And like, can we harvest something from an asteroid and bring it back? Um, so that's kind of cool. Interesting thing I've learned is a lot of asteroids are more like, when I think of asteroid, I think of like a chunk of rock, right? Is that how you think of like an asteroid? Like pretty solid?
Yeah, mostly. Maybe they're probably pretty porous, I would guess, but
So apparently, most of them, it's more like a pile of rubble that's all stuck together in space.
oh, really?
So it's more like a bunch of like chunks of rock stuck together. And they showed a video of like a probe hitting an asteroid and getting up close to it. And that's exactly what it looked like on the camera feed. It's just like a bunch of rocks kind of stuck together. So we had this idea like we could land a craft on it and like shoot down a drill to like whatever mine and harvest these minerals, but like it's not like one big rock. That's not it at all. So I guess it's just like the gravity like pulled together like all these little pieces of rock together over time. Um, so yeah, the mining, like the technical aspect of the mining, because of that, is a lot more. Well, it's more difficult than what we thought. So like one of the vehicles, I think this was Astroforge. This was one of their designs. It's got like a satellite looking thing with a big whatever, like open cylinder thing. And basically they like drive up to the asteroid and it like the mouth of this thing surrounds it and they like shoot lasers at it to incinerate parts of it to harvest the mines. Um anyway, I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah, dude, it's just like rubble piles stuck together. It's not like one big rock. It's crazy, right?
Interesting. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
There's a bunch of different types. And some asteroids that have rare metals like platinum or gold or I don't know what else, like manganese. Potentially, like a single asteroid will have like $50 billion worth of that mineral, right? So it's interesting though, because if you did send like something to like mine that stuff and bring it back, it would just like destroy the whole supply and demand system.
Yeah.
Like some of these rare metals, like the market cap is only like a few $1 billion.
Yeah.
So you'll have like 10 times more than what the market buys each year coming back, and it'll just like fuck everything up as far as economics go. So that's really interesting.
It is interesting. I wish, and I think that's a cool concept. Both that and the deep sea stuff.
Yeah.
But like we talked about last time, I wish that instead of doing that right now, maybe we as a human race or as a country or whatever could, maybe, I don't know, unionize the slave labor that's going on in Zimbabwe that's getting our precious lithium for our cars.
Well, that's one
I
of the
feel like we
things
should do that
about
first before doing anything else personally. You know?
yeah. Well, that's one of the things about the asteroid mining is that you could, I mean, it's like a pro and con. You could destroy those industries that are exploiting laborers, in particular, like you said, uh, there's like Zimbabwe and the Congo. They have mines for some of these like rare metals. So you could destroy the industry, which is cool because you don't have to worry those people getting exploited, but also those people don't have any jobs now.
Well, they don't get paid.
Yeah, but now there's nothing for them whatsoever.
That's
So
true.
at least if they're like slave labor, like maybe they're getting like housing or something. Like there's something that's keeping them there. I don't know.
Here. Yeah, I think a guy with an AK-47 is what's keeping him there.
Dude, you're probably right. It's kind of yeah. There's a lot of shitty stuff going on in the world,
Tough,
but
but
yeah,
interesting concepts
it
though.
is interesting. I'm conservative, so I would, if it was me that had like the money to start this company to do mining, I'd want to be very careful about how much I was planning on bringing back, so I wasn't like totally disrupting an industry.
Sure.
So I think there's a way, but like with Elon Musk, SpaceX, and trying to become like a multi-planetary species, I think we're gonna have to do that. We're gonna have to have industry that's like off Earth, right? So I think eventually we'll have kind of like factories essentially out in space. Like maybe it's concentrated in an area with a bunch of asteroids. So you're mining the materials and then producing stuff like away from Earth or like colonies so that it's safer. And you're building stuff like out there in space because then it's also more energy efficient because you don't have to worry about the propulsion to like get stuff out of the atmosphere. So I think eventually we'll have infrastructure out in space like that
Mhm.
around asteroids and whatnot.
That'd be cool.
That's my guess. Long time though. Probably a long time before that'll happen.
Long time. Probably maybe not in our lifetimes, but maybe. Who knows?
Maybe.
We'll see.
There's already companies that are sending stuff to space all the time. SpaceX does regular launches. It seems like they're earning their money through just launching satellites. Like there's a lot of different. Oh man, what was it? I read something about this earlier today. Apparently, from like what I read, there's a high demand for small satellites to be launched into space. A lot of it is like academic stuff, like for research purposes and monitoring temperatures and other atmospheric conditions. But SpaceX is doing bigger satellites for like cell phone companies and like government stuff. So there's been some recently, there's been more startups that are doing smaller rockets to launch those smaller satellites into space. Like there's one out of, I want to say New Zealand. I think it's called Rocket Lab that does a bunch of launches, like very regularly, but they have smaller rockets that are focused on launching those smaller satellites into like upper Earth orbit. And then Astrolab was like another startup I was talking about. Like I think they're doing both. They're surveying asteroids and they're kind of building like a database of these asteroids and like what type of stuff they could mine them for. And then they're also trying to get to where they're producing like a rocket a day so they can be regularly selling rockets and like launching rockets into space to meet this demand for smaller satellites being launched into orbit. So anyway, the technology is progressing and at a pretty quick pace. So I think that's pretty neat.
Ooh, what is that?
This is a ginger beer.
Oh,
I really like it. It's Fever
is it
Tree
is it a
Premium Ginger.
non-alcoholic or?
It's non-alcoholic. I'll be honest. One of the biggest and most disappointing lies that I was told before I was 21 is that alcoholic ginger beer is even better than non-alcoholic ginger beer. Because you know me, I love ginger beer.
Oh yeah.
But I've never had a alcoholic ginger beer that was better than like an average non-alcoholic ginger beer. So that's probably been the biggest disappointment of my adult life was that alcoholic ginger beer actually isn't very good.
Oh, that's tragic.
Yeah.
So, you might like this. I made a Kentucky Mule the other day. Have you ever had one of those?
Maybe it's just with like bourbon instead of
Yeah, same ingredients minus the vodka and plus bourbon.
yeah.
It's actually pretty good. I feel like it would make a pretty good like summer drink. Kind of
Yeah.
really refreshing, tasty.
Dude, anything with ginger beer, I'm all about it. I don't
Oh
know
yeah,
if I've had a Kentucky mule. Definitely had a bunch of Moscow mules.
yeah. I'd say they're worth trying. You might like it.
Yeah, right on, man. I do like the alcohols.
Me too. It makes life kind of yeah, kind of fun, kind of slow, then kind of painful. So whatever.
It's a trade-off, you
Yeah.
know.
The alcohol giveth, and the alcohol taketh away. You know?
That's true. That's true. I gotta have something now that I'm not using dip anymore.
I'm proud of you, man. That's real good.
I still think about it sometimes, but it's not like every day. Like it was a long time where it was like every day I'm thinking about it. Now it's just like every now and then it's like, man, it'd be nice to throw a fat lip in.
Yeah, I think about it sometimes. Like mostly when I'm doing like stuff outside or like going like a long walk or going hiking or just
Yeah.
or just working outside or something. But yeah, I'm proud of you. That's good.
Thanks, man. I gotta bring it up a lot so I get affirmation.
Good affirmation for me when you deserve it, Toby.
Dude, I need it, man. I'm not as hard as you. You just like quit like a man and just like didn't even tell anybody.
No, no.
It's exactly what happened. I'm not as tough as you. That's okay. I accept that.
So speaking of, I don't know, this reminded me of it for some reason. speaking of booze, right? And again, I don't know why this brought me here. I guess maybe I do know why. Maybe I'll remember it. But I think I'm gonna start a new thing once I am actively employed and have like a more more disposable income and have like time to do certain projects. I want to become as self-reliant as possible.
Sure.
Like to
Hey, man.
almost to an extreme extent. You know what I mean? Like I want to produce my own food. I think this is why I remembered it because we were talking about the moonshine stuff. I want to produce my own spirits, my own food, my own power if I can.
It's good. You started with the important stuff first, spirits, food, power. Good.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I may not. I don't have quite the pyramid built yet, but
I think you're on the right track.
yeah, sure. Um, but I really want to do something like that
Yeah.
because I've been doing a lot of reading online, and like no one seems to want to talk about how fragile um, the United States' infrastructure can be. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like any little thing can happen, and it can send it haywire. Um, and I just don't want to rely on it anymore.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a good idea, and I feel like I want to do that. And I feel like I want to make like a not like a this isn't a cult thing, but I want to make like a community of people who have the same ideas. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, for sure.
Like who aren't gonna like say, "Oh yeah, I'm into that," and never do anything about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to find people who would say, "Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea. Let's work on
Yeah.
it." I feel like now I don't want to totally disconnect from the modern world because it's pretty sweet. Getting I don't know,
Uber Eats,
yeah, going
all
out to
the
get
streaming services. Think
yeah,
about how
going.
many Marvel movies we've had. What a treat.
I know I love Marvel movies. We can go out and get ice cream. That's awesome. You can go get whatever. I think
Yeah.
that's cool, and I love Chick-fil-A, so I don't want to go away
Ooh,
from Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A, baby.
They're good. But I definitely want to become almost entirely self-reliant.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good idea because I just don't see our infrastructure as a nation becoming stronger anytime soon, or
Yeah.
more resilient. Um,
Yeah.
because it. What does it take? Like, it took a small virus. Well, not a small virus. It took a virus we knew nothing about to absolutely cripple the country for. Honestly, one could say we're still almost crippled from it.
I
You
mean,
know,
we're definitely still suffering the effects
sure.
almost 3 years later.
Yeah,
Actually, it is because like 2019 isn't
yeah.
2019.
No,
Gee,
it's early 2020, I think.
fuck.
But yeah, like it takes
Three
something
years.
just like that, and parts of society become barely functioning.
Yeah.
Or like what were those two retards doing? The guys who shot up that stubs or substation in North Carolina. The whole county.
I thought it was on the West Coast.
There may
But
have been.
either way, yeah, they like, yeah. For people that don't know, this is hilarious. They sabotaged like whatever, a substation that controlled part of like the electrical grid, and they like shut down the grid in this entire area. And all they wanted to do was like to rob a convenience store or something, right? So they thought they were just gonna like cut the power, but they like this whole area they just like cut the electricity for
Yeah,
unintentionally.
yeah. And if two retards with a bolt action rifle can shut down a whole, I think it was a whole county. Moore County was it?
Something like that, yeah.
A whole county can be shut down by two idiots with a bolt action rifle. What does that say about the rest of our, respective grid? I just don't find it reliable. And I've always kind of held this thought, but I never really had the ability to do anything about it long term, I guess, like to be self sufficient.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's something I want to do soon in the future. I want to buy a home, and I want to not have to worry about, you know, losing the things I like power and food and stuff, you
Oh,
know?
for sure, man. You got to have that homestead action there take you through.
It's true.
Yeah, I like that too because even if you become like mostly self-sufficient, then you don't need a whole lot of money to live off of. You know?
That's also true.
Even if you're like 75 to 80% of like the things you need, you produce yourself, then like maybe you only need to earn like $10,000 a year to like help pay for stuff,
Mhm.
or less. Then you only have to work like part time, or you don't have to save as much for retirement. Um, yeah, man, I definitely feel that. Yeah, there's a lot of like, I think there's a lot of lost skills that I think our generation
Oh
is like
yeah.
starting to realize like, damn, like society is whack. Like it could collapse at any time. Like we need to relearn like how you like grow food, not like garden. Like I feel like the modern thing with gardening is you put so much effort into like growing this like small area for like, you
Right.
fertilize it and you like spray your pesticide and like you do all these different things like that's kind of the opposite of what I want to do with like my intensive farming. Like I want to put the seeds in the ground and like lay the pipes for the drip watering and then like hopefully do nothing else until harvest because that allows me to like have more and more. But people garden and they put like a crazy amount of time and effort to like keep their plants perfectly happy. Anyway, so I think there's like a lost art to growing food, to preserving food, and to like all sorts of different stuff. That's one of the reasons why I'm interested in growing hemp, not just because I'm interested in growing marijuana later on, but also because the bark of hemp, it's very fibrous. So it's good for producing cord, or you can make paper out of it, or you can even make clothing out of it. So there's a lot of different functions for once you harvest that and kind of break it down into
Right.
fibers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I feel like, well, no, it's not that I feel like it is a fact that most, I would say 90% at the minimum of the United States is just fat and happy and totally reliant on the infrastructure. And I don't think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Um, I really want to, I really want to do something about that. Dude, there are three like electrical power grids in the U.S. There's the East Coast, Texas,
Yeah.
and West Coast, right? And
Yeah.
if one of those goes down, correct me if I might be wrong, but if one of those goes down, or some of them are tampered with, or messed with, or a natural disaster wipes it out, or something, then the other two generally cannot keep up.
Yeah.
If what I read is factual, and I think it is, and that's just like a little freaky to me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I hate the idea of having to go to Publix for food. I mean, I love going to Publix for food because they got some good stuff, but I feel like if you neglect your basic human responsibilities of survival, then you're just dumb. You know, learn how to take care of yourself. Learn how to
I think if you have the ability, you should learn these basic things like how to grow food, how to preserve food.
how to sanitize water, how to
Yeah.
patch a small wound.
Yeah.
How to skin an animal or process an animal for food. You know,
Yeah.
I think I think as soon as I mean, somebody there was a guy years ago who said that you know society is 3 meals away from collapse, right?
Yeah.
I agree. You got to think like there's a guy, a father who is trying to feed his family and he can't. He's going to do some crazy stuff to do that. Rightfully so. Um, so I see a lot of merit there, and I really, really, really want to just build my own community of the homies and the families, build strong families, good kids, a lot of food, a lot of water, a lot of guns, a lot of booze, and just detach from the
The
plague.
way the Lord intended.
Honestly, dude.
Yeah, man, I'm all about that. But I really do think it's a generational thing though. Like that, like those values, like it feels like it's I don't know, we're like circling back to that. Like but it like do you agree that that's kind of like a big thing with like
Oh,
our generation, like circling back to like realizing the importance of that stuff?
I don't know that I've personally seen the act of it circling back yet. But I do think that we're on the cusp of that. I feel like a lot of people are starting to realize that
Yeah.
things. But I don't know if I've seen any actionable uh, um, plans put into action by people I know.
Yeah.
Other
The reason I say I think it's a generational thing is because when I see like YouTube videos or stuff on like Instagram or other social media, it seems like it's always people like our age, like in the millennial range. Um, like the you sent me something about a homestead this past week. Like those people look like they're about our age.
yeah,
There's Fatima Farms that operates out of Huntsville, Alabama. They kind of work on like a permaculture system, but they have a homestead where they grow some different crops and they have pigs, chicken, and I think they have sheep as well. But they produce that stuff to sell, and that's kind of how they earn their living through that. Fatima Farms in Huntsville, check them out. They're pretty cool if you're local. They can give you fresh stuff. It's not too far from you, actually.
yeah.
I don't know them, but they're like friends of a friend. But anyway, yeah. So I just feel like whenever I see stuff like that, it seems to be people of like our generation, which obviously it's not our generation as a whole. Because if you look at our generation as a whole, they're a bunch of fuckers, really. That's how I feel. But anyway, yeah. A lot of people circling back to that, seems like.
Yeah. Hopefully, people are starting to take notice of the lack of proficiency in our government and in our infrastructure and saying, oh, okay, well, I'd like to keep on living if something, unfortunate happens, and I'm going to do this. So that's good.
It's scary how fragile things are, for sure. Yeah.
I
Got
don't
to
want
be
to.
careful not to dwell on it too much because you don't want to be all gloom and doom because then, like, you get to the point where, like, nothing matters because we're all just on the brink of death. Like, you don't want to be there. But yeah, I agree. Like, you should, if you have the ability, you should, like, learn these skills. And yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you're in the next, 2 to 3 years, you're probably going to see a lot of that from me.
Good.
Yeah. I don't have the resources to do it right now, other than in small amounts. But
Yeah.
when I'm working full time again,
Well, you
but
got time. So you got that resource.
yeah, that's true. I got time. I wouldn't die. At least not immediately.
Yeah.
I could. Yeah, I got water and food put away, so that's good.
That's good. That's important.
It's true.
Water and food is important.
Yeah, we need to. I've been talking to Kelsey about going in together on a little plot of land,
Yeah.
uh, somewhere fertile, maybe like central Alabama ish. No, maybe not Birmingham, but maybe a little further south where it's a little cheaper. Um, and just kind of making a weird little not maybe not a community, but her and I going in halves essentially on a chunk of land, a parcel of land where we could, each build our prospective homes on either side of it, so we're not in each other's face all the time, and then basically Ram Ranch, but like actual putting into action. You know what I mean? And
Dude, I'd be down with that.
you can come too. Obviously, I mean you're a part of the Harris household, so that's fine.
Thanks, buddy.
You are. I mean, hell, if you wanted to even like go in thirds on this with it, that'd be cool too. But if not, I get it.
That's what I'm saying, man. I'd like to go thirds with you.
I'll,
I'd like to have a place that's, I mean, so like I want to live on the Gulf Coast, obviously. We've talked about that. But also, like when you think about natural disasters, I'd want to have a place that's further inland because there's less of a threat of like hurricane damage, obviously. So, and like also, like you said, land is a lot less expensive when you get away from the coast a little bit. So, I'm interested in going in on thirds.
I think that'd be a good idea because land's land essentially never loses value. It may here or there, but
We're not really making more of it.
no, we're not. The Earth's not making more land. Actually, that's a lie. Hawaii
China.
and China, yeah, they're making more land, and the volcanoes in Hawaii are making.
Yeah, we'll say as a rule, we're not really, there's not more real estate being made,
No, no.
generally, as a rule.
Generally, as of right now. But yeah, I feel like that'd be a safe investment and something both pleasurable and practical.
Yeah.
Because who doesn't love just going in the woods and camping or hiking out or building a home or whatever, hunting or shooting a gun or fishing or whatever.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love that? If you don't like that, get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out of here. All right, that's good. We got to mark this video as explicit now.
That's fine.
They're all rated E for everyone or explicit,
Just like
not
these.
for children. These hands are rated E for everyone, son.
Uh,
Yeah, man. That's a dream right there.
it is. It is. I think
That's what
I think it's super attainable too if you just kind of work towards it.
I think it is attainable, man. I think you work for a bit and set aside some money, make a little homestead. But even then, like if you do it right, you do it, like I was talking about Fatima Farms earlier. I'm not like trying, I don't like I've never met the people. I'm not like trying real hard to plug them, but like that is kind of the dream because they have a homestead, but they're profitable because they're raising these animals and selling them and they're growing food and it's all like organic and the animals are like all grass fed and everything. And yeah, man, like that'd be awesome. I'd love that. I'm gonna start with like my small intensive farming, but I'd love to like expand to that and buy some land.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about recently, especially since I reread The Alchemist. I think I talked about that on our last podcast, but been thinking about like what like my dream job would be. And I really think it would be like have a homestead and like do the homestead stuff. Have all that fresh food and fresh meat and be able to eat healthy. Um, and also have a good podcast where I get to like travel and like meet interesting people and all that.
Yeah, I don't want it to I want to live comfortably on this
Sure.
proverbial homestead. I want to have like a nice house, nice car and like
Yeah, I don't want to have to like crap in an outhouse.
yeah, I'd
I'd
like to
like to
have
have
some
running
Wi-Fi
water.
here and there, but
Yeah.
I I definitely see the value in stepping away from what is modern society in a way because of all the things you just listed, like
Yeah.
making money, your own money, eating healthily and well, and just people who live in the woods live longer. There's some science behind that probably. And you're just
Probably.
yeah, you're just happier, you know, and I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah. I was listening to this podcast this past week. This was Eric Weinstein's podcast, I think, The Portal, but he was talking with this guy who was a physicist, and this guy invested in 15 acres on Maui, and he's really disenfranchised by the academic system because it's all like it's too subservient to like federal grants, like, and he recognizes that like science is becoming political because you got to like meet their political agenda to get like federal grants. And anyway, so he's trying to build a system for science to continue outside of like academic institutions, right? So anyway, he invested in this property. He's got like 15 acres in Maui, and he invites like these other like physicists, and they come together and they like hang out and like they go surf and they like talk about like the most serious problems in physics, and they talk about like subatomic particle physics and like string theory and stuff. And like that's just like that's incredible to me that he like bought this property and these dudes like hang out and they like do science together. Like that's crazy. That's awesome.
That's all I want to do too. Maybe not to the molecular level or whatever, but I want to do some science. I want to make some food, make some spirits, make
Yeah,
some.
like and like learn some stuff,
Yeah,
like isn't that, yeah, like that's amazing. And he's like, yeah, like I got this big property and I'm like continuing to develop it so we can like go out and be with nature and do these things. And it's like, oh my gosh, like that sounds incredible. Like that's a dream right there.
sure.
He invites these people and they hang out and they like try to make like scientific breakthroughs together. It's casual.
That's the goal, man.
That's what's up, dude. That's what's up right there.
I'm not a physicist, but having my own parallel of that would be pretty cash money.
Cash money, son.
Just a community of semi like-minded folk.
Yeah.
We're just, yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's trying to build a community of scientists that can work with each other and bounce ideas off of each other to continue to like progress in the scientific field without having to be beholden to the academic community and to the federal government.
Sure.
And their subsidies and everything.
I want to build a community of patriots, good, salt of the earth Americans,
America.
what it used to be.
Yeah. Just like the founding fathers intended.
Oh, yeah.
Mm. All right. Well, I got to get off here soon so I can go to bed because I got to get up early. I feel like this is a good place to finish off.
But it's 8:30.
Yeah, dude. I got to go to bed early, man, so I can get my beauty sleep. Not because I'm beautiful, but you wouldn't believe how ugly I get if I get even less sleep.
You are gorgeous.
But you think I'm ugly now. Just wait. Just wait.
I feel like once you get out of the army, you're just going to turn into handsome Squidward. Just
Maybe.
strong jaw, flowing hair, jacked, you know. Not that you don't have that already, but
I could see that happening.
Yeah, all because of sleep and sanity, right?
Yeah. I'll probably work out more.
That's good.
I'll have more time and like a less restrictive schedule.
Gotta stay fit, man.
So you got to stay fit, man. You got to stay active, do some movement.
Motion is lotion, my guy.
Motion is lotion.
Ooh,
wow.
For your joints and bones and stuff.
That's going to be the name of this episode.
Motion is lotion.
Motion is lotion.
That or just something along the lines of reject modernity, embrace, patriotism. Or
yeah, it's already been said a lot.
Yeah, I know, but I'm really trying to do that in a way.
All right. All right. What other final thoughts do you have for our listeners?
It's not that hard. Don't be a pussy. And someone before you has done something way harder, so deal with it. That's all I got.
Wow, thanks for that. Also, thank you to all of our loyal listeners. Jordan, if you made it through, let us know, man, if you accept our offer to be our producer, etc. Like we said, we can't pay you right now, but we're happy to renegotiate if this podcast ever takes off.
Look, if it does, we will give you, no strings attached, a parcel of our land to build your home on. So
maybe
that's probably a couple grand. So yeah,
maybe
we'll write it up in a contract and we'll figure that out.
We'll talk about it, man. If this, we'll talk about it.
Everyone's good people. We should keep them on the community. We need a comedian, and a physical therapist.
He is funnier than we are.
It's true. He's better looking too. I'll give him that.
You're not wrong. He's a good looking guy.
He's handsome.
Yeah. All right. I'm stopping it.